Welcome to the Explore Real Estate Show. I am James Boslaw, your Fredericksburg area realtor and vacation rental investor. And this show is all about real estate in the Fredericksburg area, the Fawn Lake community, and the vacation rental space. I help people buy and sell homes because I believe that everyone should grow their wealth as they live in or own a home that they love. I also believe that everyone should feel confident when buying or selling a home, and confidence comes when you are well educated and informed. And that's what this show is all about. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Explore Real Estate Show, where in today's episode, we are going to be discussing, should you buy now or later? This is a conversation about housing affordability and the pros and cons for buying now versus later. And I just want to say this right from the get-go. This is going to be a controversial episode because there are a lot of different opinions on this topic. But as someone who's driven by data and who absolutely loves stats, you should know that by now from watching the show, I do have a lot of thoughts on this topic, and I just want to dive right into those thoughts and share with you my perspective on a question that's asked of me a lot, and something that I'm always open and honest about, prepared to talk to my clients about this. And it's something that, once again, it is my opinion, but it's driven by data. It's driven by stats. And so let's dive right into this topic. So first, what we're going to do as we discuss the pros and cons for buying now versus later, and really the issue around the housing affordability, which is tough right now, we have to take a look at our current reality. So our current reality is that for 15 years straight, we have seen home values appreciate in value. They've gone up. Matter of fact, currently, we are at a 15-year high for the average sales price in the Fredericksburg area. The new stats just came out about a week ago, and as through the month of September, the average sales price in Fredericksburg area is $475,000. That is up 6% from the previous year of 2022. So in 2023, the average sales price is up 6% from September of 2022. And the current average sales price in the Fredericksburg area is $475,000. Now, that's great if you're a homeowner. That means that you have a lot of equity, a lot of appreciation. But if you are purchasing a home, it is something to be mindful of, that home sale prices are higher now than they've been in 15 years. Now, compounding on that, we also have interest rates that are also at a 15-year high. The current interest rate right now, and there's lots of variables that go into this, of course, but taking a lot of averages, the current mortgage interest rate right now is 7.5%. Ouch, right? Yes, that is higher. So what makes this so tough, and all of this is our current reality, and it is something to consider as possibly being an issue when it comes to purchasing a home now. But our current reality is that the average sales price of a home is $475,000, and the average interest rate is 7.5%. So if you were to take those two numbers, the average sales price and the current interest rates, and you were to try to guesstimate what your mortgage payment would be, currently, the average mortgage payment is going to be in this area about $4,000 a month. Now, you might be saying, James, how do you come up with that number? Well, that's assuming that you're taking out a conventional loan and putting 5% down, which is a very common loan and a very common down payment, and assuming that you're buying at the average sales price and that you have good credit, and all of those things combined, your average mortgage payment right now is going to be about $4,000 a month. Now, that just saying that out loud, ouch, right? That hurts. That's a lot of money. It's certainly a lot more money than we were looking at a year ago, and even more money than we were looking at 2 to 3 years ago, back when interest rates were lower and sales prices were lower as well. So in short, and all these things lead to the cons of buying a home right now, just our current reality. These are stats, not opinion. But in short, home affordability is a concern right now. Now, added to the home affordability is the issue of inflation. So our gas prices, our food, our groceries, our everything, clothing, everything costs more now than what it has in the past. And so the country is starting to feel the weight of this. The desired impact that the Fed has had on raising rates has definitely had its impact. Buyers are not purchasing homes as much, although they're still purchasing homes. They're not purchasing homes as much as affordability becomes higher and higher. It's harder for folks to purchase homes. Now, you might think that after I share our current reality and all the cons for purchasing a home right now, you might think, wow, this is a terrible time to buy a house. Well, actually, I'm going to argue now that it might not be a terrible time to buy a home. And actually, it might be better to buy a home right now than it will be in a year or two from now when the interest rates are lower. And I want to share with you my reasoning for that and why I say that. Let's take a look at a couple of advantages for purchasing a home now when the interest rates are harder, when homes are less affordable. What are the advantages of buying a house now versus later? And I want to focus on 5 reasons why purchasing a home now with these higher interest rates might be an advantage to you. The first is that right now you have less competition. And that is totally true. Back when the real estate market was really, really hot and interest rates were low, there were multiple buyers who were competing against each other for the same home. And what that did was it increased the sales price of homes. People having to go $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 above asking price, sometimes more, waiving home inspection contingencies and waiving appraisals, all of that just to get a home. Well, right now, that's not our reality. Right now, you have less competition. As a matter of fact, if you find a home that you love, there is a chance that you might be able to get that home for less money than it's currently listed for. So there are opportunities for you to land a home that you love and have less competition, which, as I'll explain in just a moment, will definitely be a good thing for you in the long run. You might be able to get a deal because you have less competition. Now, the second reason why buying a house right now might be to your advantage is because it is a stable investment. Listen, the sales prices of homes and the values that they have, it's very simple economics. It's based on supply and demand. And we have a housing shortage right now in the market, and there is no signs of that changing anytime soon. We do not have enough homes for the demand of buyers that we have. Matter of fact, as of right now, the months of supply that we have in the market is 1.8 months. We're just under 2 months of inventory in the market. And history has shown that anything under 4 months shows that it's a lower housing inventory and that is indeed favoring a seller's market. And right now we're at less than 2 months of inventory at 1.8. We're not seeing any signs of that changing anytime soon. So because there's a housing shortage and because in the future we highly anticipate that the interest rates will come down from their current highs, those two things, the housing shortage plus future decreases in interest rates, is the perfect formula for more appreciation of values. So if you purchase a home sooner rather than later, that value in your home and that appreciation will be working for you as your home that you own is going up in value, while at the same time you are obviously paying down your mortgage. And that is increased equity, which we'll get to in just a minute. But it is a very stable investment. There has not been a decade in the history of our country where home sale prices have not appreciated. Over time, owning a home has been proven to be a very stable investment. So buying a home sooner rather than later can work to your favor. The third reason why buying a home now can be to your advantage is that you always have the potential for future refinancing. And this is something that I have been talking to my buyers a lot about. And I want to give you real numbers so you can understand what that could look like to purchase your home now with the higher interest rates, but in the future, you can always refinance your home at a lower interest rate. So here's real numbers of what this looks like. I've already shared with you the current mortgage payment on an average $475,000 house at 7.5% interest rate is a $4,000 monthly mortgage payment. But according to some modest projections, and these are hypothetical projections, I don't have a crystal ball, I cannot see into the future, But these hypothetical estimations are actually very realistic. But if we kind of fast forward into 2024, it is not far-fetched to assume that the average sales appreciation continues at its current pace of 6%, which would mean that next year that homes would be worth about $500,000 on average instead of $475,000 on average. And it's also not far-fetched to have an estimate or hypothetical situation where interest rates have dropped from the current 7.5% to 6%. Now, if those two things happen, if this average sales price goes up from 475 to 500 and the average interest rate goes down from 7.5% to 6%, then the mortgage payment that we'll be looking at next year is $3,800. Well, that's great. That means that it could be $200 cheaper next year than it is currently. You might hear that and say, well, why then would I buy a house right now? Well, let me tell you what the numbers would be if you were to buy a house currently at the current numbers. And yes, that would mean you would have a higher mortgage payment for a period of time at $4,000 based on these numbers. But if you were to buy a house now at the average sales price of $475,000 and then refinance it next year when the interest rates go down to the 6%, then your mortgage payment is going to be $3,600. So that means that your mortgage payment would be $200 less than if you wait to buy a home next year. Now, that's assuming that you refinance, of course, but the point being is that you can find a home that you like now, that you love, have less competition, purchase it. Yes, for a period of time, maybe a year or so, you're going to have higher interest rates. But when you go to refinance it next year, when those interest rates drop, your home is actually going to be more affordable than if you were to wait and purchase a home next year. Now, once again, these are all numbers that I'm just throwing out there as an example. We have no idea what the exact numbers are going to be, but the principle applies that an advantage you have right now with less competition is that you can get a stable investment and you can find a home that you love, and you have the potential to refinance it. And because you purchase it at a lower sales price, your mortgage payment will be even lower once you do refinance. Now, a fourth advantage to buying a home now versus later would be that you are building equity. The sooner you buy a home, the sooner that appreciation works for you. And yes, when each mortgage payment, you're paying down your debt, which is great. But right now with the current appreciation levels, we're seeing equity really, really being built up because of appreciation. This is one of the best reasons for buying a home. You are building wealth when you own a home versus paying rent for somebody else. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. You're helping them to build their wealth. But when you are paying rent, every month you write that check, it's not doing anything for you. It's gone. But when you own your own home and you are writing that check for the mortgage payment, you are letting that home, that asset, work for you. You're building equity. Your home value is going up as what you own the home is going down, and the gap between the appreciation and the debt pay down, that gap is your equity, and over time it grows. And this is one of the greatest ways that you can grow your wealth is through having that asset, which is a home that you own. So that is definitely a reason for buying a home now versus waiting. I cannot tell you how many buyers I have that years ago were saying the same things that they're saying now. They were saying, hey, we're just going to wait for the interest rates to go down. The sales prices have gone up like crazy, and which is true. Hey, we're going to wait till we find a deal. Where those that have waited, maybe some of you listening to this are in that category. Well, now you wish you would have purchased back then. Maybe you could have purchased a home 2 or 3 years ago, and you could have been the beneficiary of all of that value in your home through the appreciation as well as the debt pay down, which gives you more wealth, more equity. So if you find a home that you love and you can get settled in it, you are going to have the opportunity to build equity. Definitely an advantage for purchasing a home now versus later. And last but not least, this is something that not all of you will be able to experience, but for those of you who are homeowners, because of that appreciation, you are going to be able to experience a larger down payment from the sale of your home and the purchase of your new home. You are going to have a larger down payment, which minimizes the loan that you're taking out and certainly makes the mortgage payment lower, which is definitely going to be helpful for you. Also, anytime you put more than 20% of a down payment down on a home, you're not paying something called PMI. It is, that's a fee that you pay in your mortgage payment. And so if you're putting the equity from the home that you're selling into the home that you're buying and your down payment is more than 20%, you're going to save yourself hundreds of dollars more for not having that PMI payment. So if you are a homeowner, that is something that you need to be mindful of. You're going to be able to take the equity of your home sale, dump it into the purchase of your new home. You're going to minimize the amount of the loan you're going to take out. You're going to avoid having a PMI payment most likely, and all of that can work to your favor. So in summary, this is a longer episode than normal, but this is a very important topic, and it's a question that gets asked of me a lot. Hey, should I buy a home now? Should I buy a home later? Most folks assume that buying a home later is the answer, and maybe it is. Maybe that is the best route for you and your family. However, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be as the home sale prices go up. Even as interest rates go down, the buyers and the pent-up demand will be jumping into the game. You're going to have more competition. You're not going to have the potential for refinancing that we discussed, and you're not going to have as much equity buildup because you're waiting. And I just really think that for many folks, buying a home now is something that should not be overlooked. It should be considered. So waiting might not make your situation better, and that is something that I want to communicate in this episode. Now, whether you buy a house now or later, you need to have a trusted agent that can keep you informed with what's going on in the market. And of course, I would love to be that agent for you. I'm here to serve. And I truly do believe, as I state many, many times on this show, that everyone should feel good and confident when they're looking to buy or sell a home. And confidence comes when you are well educated and informed. And that's what this show is all about. That's what I'm here for. So if you have any more questions, you could always contact me at my website, which is explorewithjb.com. And I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk with you and take a look at what the best scenario is for you, whether you should buy a home now or later. And as always, I do want to remind you that if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit subscribe so that you can stay up to date on the most recent episodes. If you're listening to this episode on Apple Podcasts, make sure that you follow the show so that you too can stay up to date on the most recent episodes. But I hope this is helpful for you. I hope it answers some of the questions that you might have and some of the thoughts that you might have as you talk to other people about whether you should buy a home now versus later. There's certainly pros and cons to each, but I'm here to share with you that you should not overlook buying a home now. In the long run, I actually think that that will be to your advantage to purchase a home now versus later, although every situation is different. But as always, I'm here to serve. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Make it a good one.